I'm Janet Noak for those of you who are on the call, and let's talk about victims or victory today. Let's go the first slide that I want to talk about for 1 minute, and I know there's already a question that's come in, and we will get to your questions, absolutely. So first thing I want to do is have you guys, this is how you're going to use Zoom. So I need you to maximize your screen so you'll be able to see what we're talking about. And if you do have a question, which I know that one person has already submitted a question, please ask the question, but use the Q&A section, not the chat section. So go ahead and send those questions over by Q&A. Tim's going to be monitoring the Q&As, and then we'll get all of those questions answered for you. Next to the Q&A is raise your hands. Sometimes I may ask you to do that. So right now, can you raise your hand to show me that everybody's on and everybody can hear me? Okay, I got some hands raised. Perfect. Okay, so if you're having any issues with technology, just send over a question and Tim will get with you on it to make sure it's resolved. The last thing I want to talk about is we are recording this and we will publish it to our YouTube channel and our website after the event. So if you want to go back and you want to look at anything again, we're going to go through it. So let's get started today. Today's webinar, what I really wanted to talk about is the future, because we've all been focusing on all of the problems that we're having in the world right now and all of the challenges that we're having. But really what we have today is a blank sheet of paper. So what I'm saying is everybody in their business has an opportunity to redesign their business and to redesign their goals and to put some things in place where you will understand if your goals have been achieved or not. And so I kind of wanted to take this opportunity to get you to consider some different actions that you should be taking in your business. And certainly we're here to help you with these, but I just wanted to put them in front of you. So I found a great quote: "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams," and that's Eleanor Roosevelt. So I have to give her credit. First thing we want to think about is if you write down your dreams, that's the first step. Then prioritize those that are most important. And our Business by Design program will provide the accountability to turn your dreams into goals, and then your goals become the cornerstone of our relationship to work together. So one thing that we belong to a mastermind group here as a firm, and one of the things that they did is they made us actually talk about what our dream life looks like, and because we're all in business to live the life that we want to live. So if you have a picture of that, it's a whole lot easier. So you need to say, okay, do I want to have assets? Do I want to just work? Do I want to retire in 5 years? What is it that is if you were actually to write down 10 goals, maybe 10, not necessarily bucket list things, but 10 things that your business should provide the ability for you to easily do. It might be more time. It might be more wealth. It might be a boat. It might be an airplane. It might be a lot of things. So it might be the ability to visit family more. It might be the ability to travel more. So we're going to talk through the process to do that, and hopefully you will find this valuable today. So first thing that you would do is to set your goals. What is it that you want to achieve? So what is your desired lifestyle? When do you want to exit your business? How much wealth do you want to create before you exit your business? How much time do you want to spend on your job? Do you want to spend half the time and make double the profit? What does it take to do that? What's your work personal life balance? And then once again, the assets question. And there are some creative ways to buy things like yachts or airplanes or vacation homes where the IRS can pay for a portion of those purchases. So there's a lot of opportunity out there to get creative right now while we all have a little bit of time on our hands, and we can drive the future to what our business provides for us. Second thing is to develop a plan. So now that you know what your future looks like, people always think backwards. They say, how much revenue is my business giving me? And that's how much I can spend. But you actually need to think backwards. How much do I need? How much do I want? What do I want my life to look like? And then how do I get there? So that's your develop your plan. What does it look like? We have a program called Full Circle Business Services where we can help you track it. We can help you make measurable and achievable goals. And then we can say, how can your business fuel this? Do you need different clients? Do you need to pick a niche of clients? Maybe this time with this pandemic going on, you don't want to do that at all. Maybe you just want to say, okay, I only want to take a certain kind of clients. And I want to make a very standardized package that I'm offering. And I'm not going to take any underperforming clients at this point. So that might be an opportunity for you to actually take a look at your client list, draw it into the A, B, C, D, and F clients, and maybe draw a line above the F clients, say these are gone. The C's and the D's, you actually rethink your pricing on those and go back to the client and say, I need you to become an A or a B client, because this is absolutely the time to make that happen. Everybody's kind of all up in arms in life. So it's a great time to pick those cards up off the floor, put them in the deck the way you want them to be, and then make a plan for how you're going to come out of it a winner. So once you've got your plan, you need to track your progress. So one of the things that we do here is we belong to a mastermind group, and we're accountable to our numbers every month and every quarter. And then we share with 8 other CPAs across the country what our numbers are, and did we make our goals, or why didn't we make our goals? Is there something that we should have done differently? So you need to create that accountability for yourself. At the end of every month, you need to look at your financials. You need to look at the month over the month, the year over the year, the quarter over the quarter. Now, I know that I just sent some financials to one person that's on this call today. And if you haven't had a chance to look at them, this is one of the new things that we're doing is you'll actually receive your financials from us. They'll show month over month, month prior year over month, current year. If you're doing really well, we have a nice green arrow that shows, yep, you're doing good, you're up. But if you're not doing so well in that category, it's going to show a red arrow saying, this is not such a great opportunity. You're not doing a good job with this, need some improvement. So with a meeting, we can actually pick out, or you can pick out easily the things that you all of a sudden need to improve on. So that's one of the things that we're implementing, and we have already started to implement it with many of our monthly accounting clients. So the other thing that we want to do is private web-based forums, whether it's us or whether it's someone else. Do something to enrich yourself so that you don't have the glass ceiling. You've got to learn to be more of a leader or be more of a follower, whatever it is you need to do. What is stopping you from your plan being implemented? So one of the things that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring in right-hand people for myself so that I can have a little more time to spend teaching my clients how to do greater things rather than spending time on monotonous things. So you need to figure out what it is that you need to take out of your life so you can do more of what's more valuable for your clients. Then the other thing that we're doing is we're implementing some client success tools so that you'll be able to do it yourself. You'll be able to put some numbers in. You'll be able to see whether you're doing well, you're not. We're going to give you some tools to make some decisions. Should I put money in a retirement account? Shouldn't I put money in a retirement account? Are my numbers trending up? Are my numbers trending down? What if? We're doing a huge what if analysis. So what if my sales go up 10% this year? What if I can cut my specific costs 10%? What does all of that look like? So that's our new what if tool that we're implementing. And then one final thing is we're also implementing, but you could find it on your own as well, performance-based peer groups. So you find a like-minded business, find 5 like-minded businesses, and share your numbers. Don't be afraid to do that. and say, okay, I want to go ahead and see if, for instance, a dentist, is my cost of sales correct? Is my labor correct? How come my labor is 20% of my sales and your labor is only 14% of sales? And if I could save that 6%, if I could get good at that, it could mean a lot of money to me. So those are all of the things that you need to be doing, whether you use our tools or you have your own tools to do it. So as we get into, this is a, when this is all over, I would love it if everybody printed this out and actually set some things, wrote some things down. So we're going to go through what it is that you would write on this, but this is actually a handout. If we were working together in person, I would give you this as a handout, but I'm not going to give it to you right now because we're in the middle of the webinar. And if we had more time, if we were going to actually spend 3 or 4 hours together in a workshop, what's that, Tim?
So we'll go over it in the future.
Yeah, I'm going to go over it in a minute. But if we had 3 or 4 hours to spend in a workshop, my goal would be to have you walk out with this filled out. So let's talk about what it is that's on here. So first of all, up in the upper left-hand corner, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, is my business life. What does that look like? How many hours am I going to work? How many years am I going to work? How much vacation do I want to take? What assets do I want to acquire? So this is like the top level picture of what is it that my business should provide for me. Now, don't say it can't be done, because it can. So what is it that my business should provide for me? Maybe I have kids that I want to go ahead and have an opportunity to take to all 7 continents before they go to college. Maybe I'm at a point in my life where I'm ready to retire. So what is it that your business is your dream for you to provide it to you? So then we have to say, okay, now what are my numbers? And I understand that they might not look good enough to provide that business life that you just drew out. So your business numbers have to substantiate what your business life is. So remember, we're working down, we're drilling down instead of the typical way of drilling up from your numbers. So drilling down, okay, now what does it cost to maintain the lifestyle that I'm looking at? Now, pre-disaster, was I close to that? If I'm not close to that, what is it that I need to do differently in the future with my numbers? Because we all have a great opportunity now to rethink our business and pretty much to rethink everything. So we call it a clean sheet opportunity, that we have a clean sheet of white paper. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. How can I do this? Culture. So the culture is all about, in order to make those numbers and fulfill your business life, you need to have energy inside the business and energy outside the business. So what does it look like to do that? Do you have a culture statement? Have you defined what your office looks like? For instance, we've worked with clients before that we just don't enjoy going to their office, and we don't enjoy working with their team members. Their culture doesn't fit into our culture. We try very hard to give a family-friendly culture. We try very hard to make people important here. We do an annual trip. We do spot awards every week. So every week we say thank you to somebody in our office. Sometimes it's 2 people, sometimes it's 3 people, sometimes it's everybody. But we give an Amazon gift card of varying values to somebody every Wednesday at lunchtime to say thank you for being a great part of our team. Today, we received flowers from a client to say thank you for everything you did for me on the PPP loan, to get that done for me, and said, I can't do it without you. This morning, we got a phone call from another client that said, I just want to tell you that whenever I call your office, they always answer the phone with a smile, and they're always happy to talk to me and help me. So our culture, today we've had 2 good examples of creating a friendly culture. We don't always do that well, but today we did. So we're feeling pretty good about it today. Then outside the business, what do people think of your business? Do they say nice things about your business? Is that what you want? Or maybe you just don't care about that. Maybe you just care about the sheer numbers. So what is your culture, and how are you going to get to the culture that you desire if you're not there? So then the last one is my customers. So if we are drilled all the way down from what our life should look like to what our numbers have to be to make that, to what my culture is, who am I looking to serve? So my rule personally is, if I wouldn't invite a client to my house for dinner, I really don't want them as a client, because I want people that I can talk to. I want people that I can trust. I want people that we have mutual respect for each other. So I have always had the rule that if I wouldn't be friends with you, that I wouldn't have you as a client. Sometimes, unfortunately, the best clients are the clients you don't take are the best clients, because it costs you a lot of money if you take on the wrong clients. And we recently experienced that in our office, and we had a legacy client that had been with us for a long time. We really weren't making any money on it, but then it kind of blew up, and all of a sudden we lost an employee, and we had to do a lot of work to recover it, and just was a very bad experience. So you need to dig down into, what does that client look like? And maybe to reach your numbers, you have to say, I only take clients between 500 and $1 million in revenue. We only take, you have to have some filters effectively. And you have to not be afraid to say no if they don't fit in your mix of clients that will help you make your numbers, to help your life look like what it should look like. So ultimately, when I would hope that sometime you guys would all print out the handout that I had in the prior slide, and you would actually write down what these things look like. Take a little bit of time and write it down. Ideally, we would talk about business life, you would write it down. We would talk about numbers, write it down, talk about culture. So don't try to do it all at once. Start with one topic and then drill down to the next, drill down to the next, drill down to the next. Okay, so once again, back to our pre-pandemic operations, survival, and rethinking your business. We in the United States had gotten pretty comfortable. The economy was pretty good. We didn't have to think about it. We could make money, maybe not the way we wanted to, but we were on a roll. We didn't have to think about business every day. The phone rang, we got it done. Somehow it all worked out. Now we're in survival mode. What is it that we're doing today? Do we need cash? Do we need a grant? Do we need a loan? Can we survive? How many weeks of revenue can you lose and still survive this? The estimate is that 30% of businesses will fail during this time. So I did fail to mention, up at the top of this slide is fix. So on that circle, on that piece of paper, one of the categories is fix. So you need to brainstorm and think of all the things that you're going to fix. So that's where the rethink your business comes in. What is it that you want? I want more time. I want more money. I want less stress. Maybe you want less money and you want more time. But once again, go in there, write it down. What is it that you're going to fix in your life at this point? And rethink your business. So for instance, some hair salons have done take-home kits. So they've done, hair color that you can take with a brush and you can take it home. Restaurants are a great example. Restaurants have come up with curbside delivery to your car. I can assure you that's not going away. So this restaurant that was always accustomed to sit down just doubled their capacity, because they can just bring orders right out to the car. Who would have thought of that, 2 months ago? So restaurants have definitely had to rethink. And in order to keep their doors open, we spoke with a restaurant near our house, and they said, we're actually doing as much as we would do on a summer day. Well, great. They're at least not drowning. So rethink everything. How can you do it differently? What is it that, would it be going to a client? Maybe you charge more and you go to a client instead of having them come to you. Maybe you do some of your work remote. Who would have ever thought we would have talked about remote work 6 months ago? So lots and lots of opportunities to rethink your business. One of the things that we heard in one of our mastermind groups is they said it takes, call it 9 months to get a house built. So from signing the contract to CO, 9 months. So they gave the builder a challenge. Okay, could you get this done in 30 days? And he said, well, I don't think so. So they ran everything simultaneous, did everything, put this huge carrot out in front of them. And at the end of it, they had done it in like 65 days. But the ultimate is they did it in 65 days instead of 90 days. And nobody would have ever said for 1 second that a house could be built in 65 days. So rethink everything. All the normals that you know, rethink them. Put all of those things, even if they're crazy, put them on that chart under the fixed category. What is it that could be better, that might serve my clients or my customers better, so that they would pay me more for what I do, so they get more value from me? Okay, the next category is minimize. Less is more. So what do you want to get rid of in your life? I mean, probably everybody wants all their debt gone. That would be maybe, but maybe you don't. Maybe you want to go out and buy some properties. Maybe you're thinking that this downturn, real estate's going to go down, and you want to be ready to get some debt so that you can take on some vacation rental properties, because you believe that vacation rentals in the US are going to go up because people aren't going to be traveling internationally. Maybe you have a desire to grow your business and you've been waiting to invest in some equipment to do that. So you want to get some debt in line so that when you come out of this, you can change what you're doing for clients. So there are 2 different options for that.
I was trying to ask a question, Janet, sorry. Janet, one thing that keeps coming up often.
Can you hear me over there? One
I
thing
can
that's
hear
come
you.
up often is should I get this debt if I don't need it? You might want to bring that up of if somebody should apply even though they don't need it, if they get this low interest rates.
Sure. So the question of whether you should apply for debt even if you don't need it. So I think my answer to that is go back to that picture where you said my business life, and what is it that you would love for your business life to provide for you? Now, I'm not advocating to go out and get a lot of debt to spend it on a yacht or an airplane, but I am saying that if your business life needs to provide a revenue stream for you that it's not providing today, then what is it that you could buy to provide that revenue stream? So for instance, vacation rental properties generally provide pretty good revenue, but right now they're at 0. So you have to always have the resources that if you take a risk, you can get out of it. So you can't have just a 30-day chain that's going to hang you. So the other thing with minimizing, and I want you to put all of the things in that minimize section that you need to get to do less of. So do I want better clients? Are there clients that I should take out of my client list? Or maybe you keep them all. We keep all of ours, but how do you find a better way to serve them? Maybe someone in your office can serve them for part of their needs other than you, so that it frees your time up for someone better. Can I get less financial stress, less unpleasant activity? What are the 5 things you could take off of your plate today that you're doing? And could you hire a personal assistant? Could you send them to a freelancer.com? Could you use a virtual assistant and get some of that off your plate? I know this morning I was recalculating our health insurance costs because our health insurance renews February 1st. Probably not the best use of my time. I probably could give that to somebody else and it wouldn't, the outcome would be no different. So what can you get rid of that you're doing today? Bad employee productivity. Are you communicating that with them? How can you fix that? But if you need to increase employee productivity, that goes in the minimize section. And then schedule disruptions. For instance, if you've called my office in the last 6 months you know you will now be put on my calendar instead of just calling and getting through to me. It was a huge disruption to me when I was thinking, and it wasn't fair to the person whose file I was working on. But B, I've actually been able to accomplish so much more, and we're not playing phone tag. So it's not, yep, you're available now. Nope, you're not available now. So we've scheduled the disruptions, and it makes it more accountable to the clients. And it seems to be much better for everybody when we do it that way. So that's just one example, because phones were an issue for us. It might be a very different issue for you that's a disruption. So we want to give every client the time they need to get their questions answered. And when we're just racing from one call to another, it doesn't work really well. So those are the things that we have reduced. We're all doing this every day, and we are rethinking our business in a big way right now of how we provide the best value to our clients. The third section is called scale. So how are you going to grow? Once this is done, what does that opportunity look like? What would you change in your growth? Would you grow more with other people? Would you grow more yourself? Would you get rid of some of your people? You know, we've talked about a lot of that. So you're going to have some new goals, personal goals, business goals, family goals. What markets are you going to go into? What products are you going to sell? What does your pricing look like, and what does your cost structure look like for each of those pricings? So what are your key performance indicators? As I mentioned, I know before this call, I sent out some financials to some people that are on this call, and it will tell you, you know, you should have this and you didn't attain it, or you should have this and you did attain it. And they're numbers, they're raw numbers, and it's an arrow up or an arrow down. Nope, you didn't do a good job. So what about shifting some of your operations to remote? Is that something you could do? Do you have to be in the office all the time? So for sure, we've learned we can be just as effective sitting at home working as we are if we're in the office, and we can get people to talk to us on the phone instead of coming in person. Now, we're looking forward to the day we can see everybody again. So we're not suggesting that that's our new business model, but certainly it's an option. And if you are home, or when Tim was in the hospital years ago, it's so much easier to understand how to work remotely. So can you do that? Or is there any opportunity offshore? We have a lot of clients that are starting to think about that as well. So that's the scale section of that piece of paper that I gave you. And actually, we have that piece of paper on our wall, and it's about 2 feet by 3 feet big. So it's a huge thing that we have on our wall, and we have it so that everybody in our office can see it, because they need to understand that they're a part of our success and we're a part of their success. So we put it out there for everybody to see, and we have told them, if we meet our goals, you will meet your goals. And what we're going to do next is have them put one on their wall in their office to say, okay, what are my goals? So that we are well aware of what we need to do to help our employees be successful. So what is your desired outcome? Ultimately, your desired outcome is your happiness, your health, your family, how you get out of your business, and what are your personal goals. And if you look at each of those things, you can't have one without the other. You can't be healthy and be happy. Or be unhealthy and be happy. And if you have problems in your family, it causes you to be unhappy. So all of these pieces interact together. So I encourage you to take some time and figure out what it is that your business provides to you, so that you can have the desired outcome in all of these areas. So what do you need to do? Here's what you need to do. You need to write down 3 goals. We do 3 goals per quarter. So every quarter we write 3 goals. What is your goal? What are you going to do? So we put best result. So for instance, if we say 10 new clients, and we say the best result is 10 new clients, the worst result is 0 new clients. What does life look like if I meet my goal? Okay, we make X more dollars. What does my life look like if I don't meet it. Oh, I stay the same. So when do you want to achieve them? We set quarterly goals in our office. Those are also on the wall. So we pick 3 things. Now, one could be marketing. So for instance, we didn't really plan for webinars to be on our goals, but we had to realign things because we had to get information out to clients, and we found that we were saying it over and over and over again. So we found it valuable to be able to do a webinar, be able to do a podcast, for instance, the stimulus check podcast that we have on our website, because we were getting 10 calls a day. So we can't spend 30 minutes times 10 calls to answer the same question. So what we did, we recorded all the answers, put it on our website, and when they call in, we just say, hey, I'm going to send you a link. They've already answered all those questions. Here you go. So what resources do you need? And in each of those goals, you have to ask the same questions. When do you want to achieve them? What resources do you need to achieve them? What are the action steps required? Why is it relevant? And what is the best case and what is the worst case scenario? And some of them are financial and some of them are not. Like, we have categories generally once a quarter for marketing. We also have categories for team engagement. So we have one team engagement activity every quarter. That's outside of the 3 goals though. So just something to have fun. You know, we move a ship through the office to see if we've made our goals. But they all have to have a measurement. So you need to kind of create a piece of paper that asks all of these questions. And then don't make this a New Year's Eve resolution. Don't make it something that you're just going to do once and then stick it away in a drawer. That's why we put it on the wall and we look at it every single day. So we're asking you to rethink now and to take action to get on a different path, to rethink. So ultimately, we are putting together mastermind forums for the groups of like-minded companies, and if anybody is interested excuse me, in exploring that, please let me know. We are trying to put together groups of like-minded business owners so that we can help each other to grow. So that is something that we're looking at doing in the future. So, and actually in the present, not in the future. So I'm hoping that there was some valuable information here today and maybe give you something to think about. So, Tim, do we have any questions? I know there was a question on the PPP loan.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and go and full screen your camera. And
I'm going to full screen my camera. Okay, perfect.
Go ahead and mute, or I'll just read them off. I don't know if they can hear us or not. Question is on applying for multiple times for the PPP and maybe the EIDL. It asks that say applied once and missed the funding, applied the second time and it's got notice they're going to get funded in there. Should they try again? Is there going to be a third round? Do you explain how these work in that there is really only one
Sure. So I'll jump in and answer that question. So the PPP loan, there is only one bucket of funding. They've just refunded, so they've put more money back into that bucket. So there's not an additional, but it's not like you got in for bucket 1 and you didn't make it. So now you start again for bucket 2. You're still in line like you were before for bucket 1, just that all of a sudden the bucket got refilled. So you absolutely stay in line. Don't move. Don't get out of line. And my personal opinion is that we will run out of funding for this. However, the Congress is was originally set to meet May 4th to vote for additional funding. So my personal opinion, can't take it to the bank, but my personal opinion is that if it isn't funded on this round, there is more funding coming. And if there isn't grant money coming, I'm fairly certain there's going to be a way to get some cash. You know, Trump has made it very evident that he wants the business to get back in the business of being in business.
Yeah, Jen, I think they might bring that up, that do you think there's going to be maybe some changes in the conventional SBA lending, maybe some easements of the difficulty of getting it through or additional capital Should we stay in this game and keep your applications up credit and be watching?
So we should not only be watching, because I think everything's going to change. So I think there's going to be a lot of money available for businesses that need it. As I mentioned, the statistic is that 30% of businesses will not come out of this correctly. So 30% may fail. So in order to be successful, what you need to do is you need to do a projection, and you need to say, okay, I need X number of dollars for the next 3 months, 6 months, up to a year, because I think people are going to under project how much cash they need. And if you under project, you might go under, and you might have a lot of debt when you do that. So key is to truly know your numbers and truly know your what ifs, because I think that some of the things, like, for example, pipelines of supplies, there's supplies that were in warehouses before this all started, but a lot of the factories have shut down. So is there going to be new coming, or is there going to be a lag? Are we going to find in 3 months that if you're working with steel that you can't get the steel? So I think you got to be really careful with your what if scenarios, and we are offering a tool to do that, which is fairly easy to navigate as well. That's one of the tools we've come up with. Any other questions, Tim?
That's all I have for right now, Janet.
Okay, great. Well, I hope everybody's found this valuable. Thank you for joining us today. Next week on Monday at 1 p.m., I'm going to talk about the PPP money and how to make sure that it is not to be repaid. So how to make sure that your grant is truly a grant. So we're starting to see a lot of these get funded, and I'm looking forward to going through the nitty-gritty of what you have to do to make sure that you don't have to give that back. So that's next week, so I hope you will join me for that next week, Monday at 1 o'clock. And for today, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me or Tim directly. Thank you so much for joining us today.